Severe weather has sparked emergency declarations in several states across the country. The Arctic blast is pounding states from coast to coast with heavy snow, freezing. Rain, ice, and some of the coldest temperatures seen in years. Right now, there are reports of more than 2 million people in Texas without power. CBS News' Jeff Berardelli has the latest from nearby Oklahoma.
From this fiery wreck in Oklahoma to whiteout conditions in Arkansas and down to Texas. An unparalleled winter storm targeting southern states unused to a powerful mix of snow, ice, and below freezing temperatures. Cars and trucks providing no match for roads and interstates blanketed with sheets of ice, sending vehicles careening out of control. In Texas, for the first time, all 254 counties in the state are under winter storm warnings. The Lone Star State hasn't seen temperatures like this in over 30 years.
Our roads, no matter how much we salt them, are not designed for it.
Oklahoma also making history with temperatures below 20 degrees for 5 days straight, the third time ever in the state's history. For Suzanne Markingo, driving on these roads for work can be a life-or-death decision.
Every time you take that key and you start it up, you take your life in your own hands, and you take the public's life in their hands, too.
The same storm left at least 200,000 without power over the weekend in the Pacific Northwest. The 2-day snowfall was the most seen in Seattle in almost 40 years, leaving some residents digging themselves out of more than a foot of snow.
All right, CBS News meteorologist and climate specialist Jeff Berardelli is in New York with the very latest. Oh, man, I mean, compared to what we just saw in some of that video, New York looks great. Looks like winter has moved into much of the country and does not want to move out. What can we expect to see for the rest of today and then looking ahead to tomorrow?
Yeah, so this is, a historic storm. People are going to remember this for a long time because there's snow and ice all the way down to the Gulf Coast, Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi. I mean, the biggest issue with this storm, beside the snow, is going to be a sheet of ice that's going to develop, from Louisiana through Mississippi up through the Tennessee Valley. And the reason for this is Arctic air has a lot of muscle. It's very heavy, it's very dense, and it's kind of bullying its way all the way down to the Gulf Coast and into the Gulf of Mexico, of all things. And there's snow and ice all the way down into the Gulf. So the Gulf of Mexico at the same time is trying to push moisture and warm air north, and it's doing so over the top of this very cold air at the surface. So you have warm air in the clouds, produces rain. That rain hits the ground, it freezes solid, it becomes a skating rink. So that's going to be a problem anywhere from the deep south straight through the Ohio Valley. And so as we head through the day today, tonight, and tomorrow, that storm's going to make it north through the Tennessee and Ohio Valley and northeast. And there's going to be a lot of heavy snow on the northwestern side of the system. So places like Indianapolis, Cleveland, and Buffalo are going to see a lot of snow. Anywhere from a half an inch to an inch of ice in this area where we have the pink shading, and it makes its way up from the deep south through the northeast. Even in New York City, we'll see a little bit, but it's going to change to rain here along the coast. It's north and west of here that they get hit hard, and the Ohio Valley and eastern part of the Great Lakes, Buffalo, Syracuse, and Burlington get a lot of snow, probably 6 to 12 plus inches of snowfall.
So here's the thing. We're also seeing record-breaking cold temperatures, the kind of temperatures that you read and you think there's a typo, right? Because there's a minus in front of it. When you look at the precipitation that's coming down, the deep freeze, I mean, what is the biggest danger when it comes to this weather?
I think the biggest danger is the ice, for sure. And one of the biggest problems is going to be widespread power outages in the south. And it's going to stay cold for at least a couple to a few days. So if people lose power, it's going to get really cold inside their houses. So it's not just the power outages, it's also, you just should not be on the roads, period, in the South right now. That's how dangerous it's going to be. And temperatures are the other issue, because we're talking temperatures, below zero right now in Oklahoma City, the coldest temperatures in over 100 years in places like that. Coldest temperatures in Texas in 30 years. It's going to be about 50 degrees below normal today in Oklahoma City. It should be 55. It's going to be 5 if they are lucky. And wind chills right now in the upper Midwest and northern plain states are negative 30 to negative 40 degrees. So there are plenty of hazards. You can pick your hazards because there's plenty of them across the country. The interesting thing is, like I said, in New York and Boston, it's an ice to rain event. But there's another storm behind it, Anne-Marie, that's going to be a little colder here. So believe it or not, it's a day or two behind, and it's almost a mirror image. I should say mirror image. It's almost the exact same storm. It's a carbon copy, if you will.
Oh, man. Oh, my goodness. At least typically we get a little bit of a break, and maybe you might get some melting. Doesn't look like that's going to happen. I'm sure we'll be talking to you again, Jeff. Thank you very much.
I'll be here.